don't think that's going to happen here, but it is an interesting thing to see because up until basically that change, the wall change, it was pretty much no questions about it. You were going to have a Sage in play. And that is, in fact, going to be the case here. Both teams favoring it. I'm glad to see it. But it was interesting because people are like, okay, well, maybe because of the wall change, people don't feel as comfortable with this on split. But even still, the casters and the audience were equally as confused. So I'm glad that that's not going to be a problem here.
Going to be Team ZeratoR opting in for defense first, and Team m1xwell going to be on attack to kick us off. Difference in agent selection will primarily be Sova, the Omen on one side, and the Reyna and the Raze on the other. See how those picks end up panning out. It is going to be Team m1xwell looking to poke their head through to B, but the spy cam going to spot a whole army and Boaster waiting to play the long combo. Maybe waited too long. Coutinho takes him down.
Congratulations, you played yourself. It's a 5-on-3. Fatinho tried to get patient, or actually Boaster, excuse me, tried to get patient, got bested by Fatinho. m1xwell is there with another follow-up, despite the fact that they get the start on the defense. The pistol round isn't looking so promising as it's down to just one now. Chihuahua, who brought us to this map with that overtime 1v1, now in a 1-on-5. There's at least some damage dealt, but they're just going to multi-peek, and that's going to make this impossible. Great take from Team m1xwell towards the B site. And if the map plays out like it has in the past, the pistol round and the round that follows are usually part of the few rounds you actually get on the attacking side.
See if that's going to end up being the case. Of course, playing a little bit more standard than what you and I are personally used to from an A. Team ZeratoR setting things up. One of the changes to split that makes it a little bit more, I guess I would say, friendlier to attackers is the pullback from the start. You know, the barriers for the defense. Pulled back a little bit. Don't really have complete control of heaven quite exactly. And they have to push up a little bit more, peek in and see who's in mid. Of course, it is Team m1xwell looking to repeat the same thing once again. Barrier orb goes up. They've got control of the backside of B. m1xwell with the early frag. Spikes as good as down.
m1xwell again favoring the Jet. And you can see why. Wants to get aggressive, wants to take that battle straight to the face of Team ZeratoR, and it works out nicely. You've got Rhyme on the flank, but it's not exactly the greatest gun. Still might be able to best Kriya, who's over here with just a Ghost. And pop, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. It's the shotgun coming out on top of the exchange. It's now down to 2 on the defending side, who are still trying to spill some more blood. Chihuahua will fall, though, in the Sage-on-Sage battle. And now the last one standing is Rhyme, who's over towards Ramen, and it's a 4-piece on the round for m1xwell.
Now we'll get to see, moving on to that third round, usually the full buy round for the team that is on the receiving end of a couple of losses in the early 2 rounds. They'll unfortunately only have one Spectre, or sorry, that's on the opposite side. They do have an Operator now in play for Boaster. No armor whatsoever, so expect this to be the true definition of a glass cannon build. And now having a look at m1xwell, he's about to see if that pesky little Boaster is going to play a little bit more aggressively. He backs up to give a little bit more space. Now, will that shot be very, very important for them, for Boaster here? If he lands this, it open up the round, and yes, he does. m1xwell will fall, but they'll still funnel in onto the site.
The op in position, back in spawn. Boaster has a lot of faith, and there it is. The Cyber Cage and the Dark Cover down. Boaster feels comfortable that the push won't come through. The spike to be planted behind that box that is currently impenetrable after updates to the map came through. So it will be a post plant. 3-on-5, but it's Team ZeratoR trying to sneak in. Great peek from Orb, but somehow not able to beat out Chihuahua, who just kept on shooting a little bit quicker. David P. now on the site. The last hope for Team m1xwell. Chihuahua coming through from spawn. Slow Orb goes down. David P tries to step into it, catching his opponent off guard. The flank was coming regardless. Even if he wins that battle, he's stuck in the ice with the Cypher on the back end of the play. Team ZeratoR pick up the first buy round, but again, it's not incredibly unexpected to lose that third round after winning the first 2.
Yeah, once the economy starts to stabilize it a little bit, or Team m1xwell get back into shape on a full buy, we are seeing that start to come through. So not necessarily the most optimal, of course. They are a little light on armor in certain areas, specifically on David P and Korea, and likely don't really have the utility as well to follow up. But we'll see once they start gunning and running in this upcoming round. What are they going to do? A little bit more spread out this time around. Boaster playing a little bit more close with the op, looking into Robin to see who's on the opposite side. Has to escape. Thinks that things are a little bit more dangerous than they are. The owl drone scares him to death. Now he escapes back up to heaven.
m1xwell currently just sitting inside that dark cover, waiting for it to dissipate, and as soon as it does, Boaster delivers a shot from the op. Jet on jet and Sage on Sage violence. That sees us at a 4-on-4, but look at Rhyme playing up in heaven, manages to pick off 2 players from Team m1xwell, and now it's on Korea and the Sage, David P. Somehow David P has managed to sneak into the A site, but you can see Boaster's ready for it. Boaster now watching the back end of the play, even though Korea does manage to send Rhyme flying away. It's down to now just Korea. And already being spotted by the Rays, the Satchel pushing Jibs out of position, so it'll force Korea towards heaven, and Jibs continues, even with the SMG, to take the fight. Tied up at 2 apiece, the money from m1xwell now should be pretty rough, so we should be seeing a save come in from the attacking side.
2 apiece. Team m1xwell, of course, have 2 on the board, but we'll see how that lead starts to potentially balloon for the side of Team ZeratoR. Looking like they're forcing up on the side of Team m1xwell. Don't really have the economy to save, but also don't really have the economy to buy. So forcing the issue means that the following round will definitely be a save for them. Side of Team ZeratoR, their economy is feeling good. They're looking good. You know, playing to their strengths now, set up in all different ways across the map. A little bit more aggressive towards mid, but it's Boaster. They're likely going to stop this push. The first shot misses, and the paranoia guarantees there will be no second attempt. They will easily take control of this backside, but the rest of Team ZeratoR now going to make their way onto the sites. Chihuahua and Boaster that find 2 early kills. It's ZeratoR that's looking to get into the party himself. A couple of sprays into the barrier orb, not going to take it down. But Fatinho and Korea actually find 2 refrags, and now it's a 3v3 with the retake.
There's the camera and the follow-up as well, with Rhyme on the flank coming in through B main. Taken care of quite quickly by Fatinho. The bomb buddy comes in. ZeratoR is going to peek out wide. It's on Korea, who's now in the 1v1 against the Cypher. Korea going around and spots out the Cypher, so now it's all about time. And Korea actually has the ult as well, so could potentially fake out his opponent with an ult, but it's just too questionable at this point in time. 2 close quarters to go for the gamble. It's a one-on-one fight that goes Korea's way, and m1xwell putting themselves back in the driver's seat, taking the lead back up 3-2.
Gotta feel good, you know. I still feel like with the new changes split, a little undecided on how it kind of feels. Can feel it defender-sided, have seen it feel attacker-sided. So far, it looks like m1xwell is having a good time, but I feel like it's still too early to tell, especially in this map that we are on right now. Only 5 rounds in. Going to have to see once we get to that 12th round, switch over to the second half, how things really start to shape up. But a little bit of mix of play here from m1xwell, looking towards A this time around. And Korea doesn't actually get spotted out, but Chihuahua waits for the full commit. Takes 1, takes 2. m1xwell will get the refrag, but at what cost? 2 bodies on the ground. And now Team ZeratoR will look for the refrag, a 4v4.
The res coming out there to bring things to even strength. Smoke's coming out from the Omen. There is a Sage wall and a whole lot of utility being dumped towards TV. Look at m1xwell just hiding inside this smoke right now. I like the play. We'll see if it works out. m1xwell tries to break their way into the site. ZeratoR follows up with a quick kill. David P dropping ZeratoR after taking down m1xwell 2-on-3. And now just 1. 1 left standing. It's Fatinho in sight. Quick 1 tap onto Rhyme, but Boaster is just too strong with the op. Back and forth we go. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of this all game long, as Team ZeratoR found their confidence after the last map win, but it's been a tough battle early on here on Split.
And you know, the back and forth really hurts the economy, not only for the team that is losing, but for both teams, because, you know, the round previous, it was m1xwell that won. And you could see now they are both struggling to put weapons together. They're both in a little bit of a difficult scenario. Of course, Team ZeratoR a little bit better off, but not everyone is able to have some weapons to play. We're seeing ZeratoR himself, the captain of the team, have to opt in for the Sheriff, switches over to the Bulldog. And on the opposite side, they're also forcing up. It's just difficult to predict where the economy is going to go. And you have to anticipate either you feel like you're going to win or you feel like you're going to lose. And neither team definitely wants to lose.
ZeratoR hiding inside this smoke. It looks like they're ready to just continue this play out. Korea tries to port into spawn. Boaster, excuse me, my goodness. Just waiting there, wondering what on earth is happening. It's come down to 2 on each side. The Jet has the ult, as does the Raze. The spike gonna get planted here, so Jibs and Boaster gonna try and play defense. Is Boaster prepared for this play coming in from David P, who's moving in on the back line? David P, as the Sage, potentially catching him off guard just as the ult gets popped. And now an opportunity, no pun intended, to upgrade to the sniper rifle. There's the ult coming out, but the rocket has yet to be fired. I like the move currently, just kind of giving them fear. The shot goes directly onto Orb, and you're gonna see this potential stick. David P with the operator has to move in. There's the shot that gives away the fact that he hasn't peeked out too far. Swaps back to the stinger, and there it is! David P, despite the choice of weaponry, manages to make it work. And again, back and forth, trading rounds with one another.
Let's have a quick look at that economy just to really tell us that story there. Now we're seeing Team ZeratoR at the receiving end of a difficult economic position. It's not horrible, but it's not phantoms and heavy armor. You know, that's optimally what you want. But on the opposite side, despite a win, you know, Team m1xwell isn't that much better off. Of course, they're able to, you know, buy some assault rifles, but they're probably missing out on some utility. They're probably missing out on the heavy armor that they wish they had. It's not looking too good for either team, and it's as back and forth as it is. The economy is so close together. And that's making a very competitive match.
Right now, it's a bit of an interesting battle. A lot of early damage dealt. The dart lands in sight. The Cypher ult as well. The neural theft coming out. Chihuahua's going to put a wall down to try and slow down the potential push coming that direction. David P has snuck into heaven with the spike. Could be a problem if David P died in that position. You've still got the Sage on site. As the spike goes in, you see Chihuahua go for the peek. Doesn't work out so well. Orb also in towards the vents. It looks like Team m1xwell gonna chain a few together here and potentially break the financial back of their opponent. The shotgun brought into play by Boaster results in an upgrade of a Phantom. The money was not great coming into this one, and you could see that playing out with Boaster on the shorty.
But he's got a little bit of an upgrade up to the Phantom now, but may look to save the weaponry instead. The economy is not in great shape for either team, to be quite honest. But I think now that m1xwell have got, I feel like 2 rounds under their belt, they can at least confidently start to build up their economy a little bit better. For the side of Team ZeratoR, just trying to make ends meet. And they'll try to make ends meet in the upcoming round as well. 3 to 5. 4 rounds remaining in this first half, and the economy's just been back and forth with no clear leader. But now things are starting to look up. Sunshine is on the horizon as teams are starting to get the weapons, the utility, and the armor that they desire. Looks like Team ZeratoR on the full buy across the board. Boaster, unfortunately, not able to join his friends at school with the heavy armor Jordans. But now for the rest of m1xwell, they're unfortunately not in the greatest shape either. Still.
We'll see what happens. As it is Team m1xwell actually putting in an impressive first half already on the attack. 5 rounds may not seem like a lot, but on a one-sided map like Split, that's actually solid. Rhyme's going to go ahead and pop the ult as Reyna. And they're going to be going right towards him. And somehow, despite the ult, can't even do significant damage to either target. m1xwell dives at his target with the knives out. Jibs just was not ready for it. m1xwell continuing that progress towards spawn, realizing after the ding shot, probably not worth it to continue on. Throws down a smoke, the cloudburst landing, and you can see Boaster wants none of this. Heading back towards the B site, trying to save.
This is not a round that you want to lose if you're Team ZeratoR. I mean, you pick the first side. Maybe it really does kind of aid to the fact that you either pick the side that you're most comfortable on to start, or you pick the side that you desire in the second half. Logically, I feel like it makes more sense to pick the side that you want in the second half, because that is the half where you can close out or play the more favorable side, right? And with that being said, that means Team ZeratoR want to attack to close things out, and they'll feel a little bit more comfortable there. But so far, m1xwell, they're doing a great job winning round after round, and this is going to be round number 6 for them.
Shots coming out there from Chihuahua at the end guarantee his life, but the rounds starting to pile up now for Team m1xwell. Let's take a look at the replay as well. m1xwell flies in point blank, and a multitude of knives just land directly on Jibs. So Jibs couldn't do much about that. Jibs, again, great performance on the last map. Here, struggling. 2-7 currently from Jibs, 2-7 from ZeratoR. Boaster back to the position of top performer alongside Chihuahua, 9-6 and 9-7. m1xwell hasn't skipped a beat. 10 kills coming in from m1xwell as we move into the 10th round.
Couple of rounds remaining in Team ZeratoR. Ideally for them, they obviously want to put a couple more rounds on the docket, but Team m1xwell looking to make that a very difficult possibility. Already m1xwell himself has found himself in a very advantageous position. They're going to start to funnel on in. Fortunately for Chihuahua, cannot find himself on the sweet end of that trade, and m1xwell will just continue that domination. Taking some fall damage, not really sure why he didn't press the spacebar to alleviate some of that damage. And around the corner he goes, finds another one for his troubles. The op shot not going to connect from Boaster. And now the smooth moves from both Jets, and it's m1xwell, m1xwell. The superior Jet finds himself with 4 beautiful kills, and it's all down to Rhyme now from Team ZeratoR.
m1xwell has 3 bullets in the Phantom as well. Hasn't reloaded. Wants to continue. I think he wants the 1 mag ace. So m1xwell playing hyper aggressive, dive bombing. Finally goes for a fresh magazine. Gonna drop the Cloudburst. Knows his opponent is right around the corner. It's the Reyna back in spawn. m1xwell looking for it. Wants to find the ace oh so badly. The second Cloudburst going down. There's a third as well for m1xwell. There's one right around the corner. Will he get it? Yes, m1xwell's found himself the ace after impressive work. Somehow manages to just walk right up mid. The only mid player they had was the Sage, who was playing inside heaven. There was no ropes player that round, or vents, whatever you want to call it, for the defense. And as a result, m1xwell kind of just walks right up mid, kills the heaven player. The player in B site is dodging the Hunter's Fury. Easy kill. Runs into spawn and just continues just shredding apart the defense.
Yeah, having a quick look at the replay. After an aggressive push in through heaven, Jibs, for some reason, not looking into that back alley, and Boaster losing the duel between deciding who's the superior Jet. m1xwell so far has that stamped right on his accomplishments, and now looking towards A. For some reason, Team ZeratoR giving up complete control, and again, it's just m1xwell trying to push in aggressively. Rhyme says, good night, sleep tight. That Phantom is mine. They'll get that spike down, but it's a 4v5, and weapons favor m1xwell.
Absolutely dirty shot coming out from the Sheriff there of Rhyme. In the meantime, though, the attacking side of m1xwell has actually been reduced down to just 3. You've got David P right around the corner, and you can hear that heal, so Jibs knows exactly where he's at based on some of the previous action that's already happened. It's all up to Coutinho inside the site. Whiffs on the op shot. Great ult coming out there from Jibs. A strong round coming in from Jibs as well. That's the 3rd on the round. A 4th there for Team ZeratoR. Currently staring down, at best, a 7-5, with the 5 being for the defense. Not exactly great. And an 8-4 is also likely, as m1xwell should have more than enough money.
Not only do they have the credits to back them up here, they've got the ultimates. But having a quick look at Team ZeratoR's economy, the double op looking to do some damage, very likely going to split that between A and B, or at least B and mid, or mid and A. Gonna be interesting to see how they play this one out. Looking like an already aggressive push, going to be trying to have control of Garage. And look, this is about to be where things meet here. Rhyme finds one onto Coutinho. The res as well puts him back up into the mix. 3 ults remain, but they have a res as well on Team ZeratoR, and already Boaster negates that res and takes out David P.
Chihuahua trying to be strong on the defense, and there it is. Chihuahua finally waking up a bit again here a bit of a slow start on
I
Split.
have retrieved the spike.
Started to pick up the performance. Was towards the top there with Boaster. But they've had a hard time matching up against Team Mixwell. It's now Orb in a 1-on-5. The best round we've seen from Team ZeratoR all game. Unfortunately, they waited to the last round of the first half to bring it into the fold.
Hostile removed.
We won't talk about it.
Yeah. Orb, though, finds himself a kill, all down to one final player here. It is Orb, and Jibs will take him down. Gives him a little bit of that English breakfast. Moves on with his day. Halftime score is 7-5. Mixwell up 2, but considering we've theorized that Split can start to feel a little bit more attacker-friendly than we originally let on, we'll see if ZeratoR are able to unlock that potential, or if Team Mixwell will continue to have their momentum swing back into their favor and keep the defender-sided Split dream alive. Pistol round going to start us off.
I know a lot of people will say, oh, that was a little BM and toxic. I think he was trying to give him CPR.
With what? CPR with what, Bach?
Well, I
What
mean,
was he using there?
he's holding a gun, so his hands are occupied. It's looking like we are going to see a B push here from Team ZeratoR on the attack. Not surprised, that's exactly where Team Mixwell went in the pistol round, and it worked out quite nicely. There's the initial push in, the wall comes down, the dash coming out, the updraft possible as well, but here's the push into the site, and it will be David P, the first to take one down. But look at that, just like that, Chihuahua, Rhyme, and Jibs all chime in with one of their own. They've brought it down to Mixwell and Kriya, who both have to try and rotate in. The spike has not been planted, so they have a little bit of time to work with. Paranoia goes out, or the dark cover, excuse me. Kriya now moving in, and that is about as strong a pistol round as you're going to see coming in from Team ZeratoR.
See how the rounds continue to stack up. Of course, for them, this will be likely the force up with the Spectres and the armor across the board. For some reason, Boaster just had a knife. Wait, did he? That is the... Wait. What? I didn't know that. That's weird. I've never seen that before. For some reason, the knife showing up on the scoreboard. That is very interesting. For Team Mixwell, however, something that we are not really going to expect Team ZeratoR to feel out is it's the force up for Team Mixwell as well. They're looking to do some damage and try to answer back with some upgraded weaponry of their own.
There's the peek from David P, despite being blind by the Lear. Goes for a second swing, wants to find some follow-up. Mixwell with the shotgun, the Bucky. Kriya in sight with the sniper rifle as well. It's all down to one. It's Chihuahua. How quickly this push got crushed. Even though Team Mixwell came in with just bizarre weaponry, it works out oh so well. The Marshall, the shotgun, the SMGs, everything going their way. So much for the comeback as Team ZeratoR wins the pistol and follows it up with an immediate round loss.
You know, the force up on the second round, especially once you've lost the pistol, feels like the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody ever expects the Spanish Inquisition, and that time Mixwell are able to make it work, show us how it's done. Now they lead in economy. Unfortunately, Sheriffs for the side of Team ZeratoR and for the side of Mixwell. I even saw a couple of Phantoms, so they're definitely looking good.
It will be just pistols for Team ZeratoR. So it's back to the B site, it seems. They've got the Jet playing intel over on A. There's the camera spotting the first one. They haven't really shown too much. They're starting to move in close. I actually really like this wall. It's a little weird, but it does result in David P's death, so maybe not as cool as I thought it could have been. The wall is down, which should prevent easy access to the site. They have to blow it apart, and they do. But in the meantime, they've managed to at least pick off one. The Reyna has snuck into the backside of sight, but look at this. I love the play. They've actually pulled the spike out, so even though Rhyme is here playing Reyna and doing great work, Jet has made it onto the A site. They're realizing, hey, something's not right here. There's no spike. They're not pushing, so they've already started to pull players out, especially after that kill comes through onto Rhyme. Boaster now able to get up into heaven with a Vandal, no less. And the A site now going to be a retake territory for Team Mixwell.
Oh, but Mixwell finds himself on the opposite end of a couple of Vandal bullets, up to no good. Boaster finds 3 for the round. And funny enough, they answered back quite handily. You think going into that round, okay, a couple of sheriffs, they're not really going to do a whole lot of damage. But moving into the second half, little did we know it was going to be back and forth. How could we have predicted this, Bach? How could we?
I mean, based on what we saw early, I would have thought m1xwell was just going to do what they did in the first map. I was not looking so good for ZeratoR. That back and forth battle was not going to favor them. And then even at the end of the half, I was like, okay, this is still not good. I thought coming into this map that Team ZeratoR would have a strong first half, given that it is defense side split, but it just didn't pan out that way. But at least they're keeping it competitive. I say that as they lose the Reyna in mid, stepping into that slow orb, and Fatinho just making quick work of them. So it is a 5-on-4. Team m1xwell have the man advantage.
Chihuahua his way up through mid. Oh, baby! Gets the headshots. David P goes soaring through the sky, ends up soaring straight to the spectate screen. Now the rest of Team ZeratoR trying to push through. It's Fatinho, who is the gatekeeper, takes one down. One more going to try to push through. But is the jiggle peak worth it? The Blaze Storm going to come out early, and unfortunately for Boaster, does not come out with a slice or a dice. Ends up with a couple of bullets from Fatinho. Now down to the 2v4. Let's see if Team ZeratoR push in towards B.
Orb on the Stinger, not able to stop Jibs making their way into the site. Fatinho has now found a 4th on the round. Could we possibly have another ace in the round? Jibs trying to prevent that from being a reality. Retreats with the gun, realizing that the round's lost. They lost Spike in heaven. 12 seconds left. There's no way. No aggression coming out, though, from Fatinho, not wanting to force that ace if possible. So Team m1xwell will find another round. And again, we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just rounds ping-ponging back and forth like we saw in that first half.
Having a quick look at that replay from Chihuahua. Ooh, you just love to see that type of play. Keeping eyes up, crosshair right exactly where it needs to be. Now looking at Team ZeratoR. Not the most ideal buy, but at least an operator can make things a little bit more interesting. Some of the weaponry, of course, going to be the Phantoms as well, but not everyone has the guns to play, unfortunately. m1xwell going to be playing very aggressively here at the start of the round, and on the opposite end is going to be another operator. And little do they know, they meet each other in the crosshairs, and Boaster comes out on top.
You fought well.
David P getting aggressive in mid. You have to get so close to put that wall up. You can see it. David P pushes up far, drops the wall, and then rotates out over towards the A site. That's the right call, as everyone is grouping up there currently. Timing is everything. How long will that orb last? That dark cover. Do they push past as well? Yes, they do. They start to push past. You can see Chihuahua was up top as well, peeking out over top of that. So it will be a volley of shots that at least favored the defense initially and continues to go that direction. m1xwell popping the ult. The knives come out and slices one of his opponents to pieces. Chihuahua now gunned down through the wall, and it falls onto Jibs. Jibs has dropped inside ropes, has an opportunity for the flank play with 35 seconds left, and so many bodies surrounding that spike. It's just seeming heavily unlikely.
Still going to try to make the hero play or make a dent in the economy at the very bare minimum. You got to try. You know, there's a lot on the line here for Team ZeratoR. They can really make things more difficult for Team m1xwell to secure that semi-finalist spot. Of course, it is now a 3-round lead for the side of Team m1xwell. Double op in play as well in the eco for ZeratoR, so they're getting dangerously close to depleting that round buffer resource that they had. Potentially a 7-11 scoreline after this, and after that they are playing for very small wins here. Let's see how they end up panning out. We've seen a Sheriff do some damage before. Can they make it happen once again?
m1xwell, they've now got double-digit rounds, and m1xwell himself on the op backs off of the ropes after they take control of mid. There's one spotted in towards heaven, sitting towards the post. the Lear coming out to prevent an additional peek coming out from the defensive side of Team Mixwell. Everyone is in mid right now for the attacking side, all 5 players, and it looks like they might be challenging Mixwell's op. If they go up both sides of the rope, there is an opportunity. There's the updraft. They're making noise right now in the ropes, as you heard one tap on it. And I think it's just a bit of a fake. They're going to try and go back towards Heaven, where they're going to have to contend with David P. and also Fatinho, who's in this position.
Oh, the collateral! David P. One more around the corner, has to drop down, but it's already potentially too little too late here for Team ZeratoR. Of course, they tried to make it work with the Sheriffs, but when David P has the operator, you definitely listen. Still 2 more members up in Heaven. They need to try to peek through David P with a third. Last member standing, drops down below. David P trying to keep it a little more interesting, but the hop, skip, and jump not going to connect for him. As Chihuahua will take him down, but m1xwell avenges his fallen comrade quite easily. Full buy here now for Team ZeratoR, trying to keep their dreams alive. Again, Boaster on the op. He's taken down m1xwell plenty of times before with it, and he's poised around that same area, but walk us through this replay. Holy smokes.
I mean, just holding that angle, they go for the double peek. And then in the 1v1, you have Chihuahua with movement so smooth, it's like the cheese named after him. Fun fact, there is a cheese named Chihuahua, and no, it is not made out of the dog. In actuality, I looked it up, because I've had it before. It's fantastic. The Wikipedia page says, not to be confused with cheese dog, because it's called queso Chihuahua, so it's like
There
cheese
they are.
dog.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting.
Take flight.
Fatinho up in Heaven sends out the drone. Knows there's one hiding in this little corner. Wants to just put a dart into somebody. Chooses it to be the Rays instead. There's the ult coming out. Oh, that's brutal. The wall goes up at the perfect time, but the ult not able to connect. Not sure what happened there, but it seemed like it should have been almost easy pickings. But look at m1xwell. m1xwell's on the flank coming through from sewers. They're not going to anticipate this. m1xwell does fan the first shot. A second shot also not on the money. m1xwell more like Whipswell in the round, as it's down to a 2-on-4, make it a 1-on-4 as m1xwell finally connects. The res is going to come in under Rhyme. So again, it's back to a 2-on-4. Now down to just 1. The Sage, Chihuahua, all by himself. Not much can be done. 12 rounds in the purse for m1xwell. They need 1 more to close things out.
Oh. Backs against the wall. Team ZeratoR. Look at their economy. They're going to have to force up here. There's no way that you let Team m1xwell come out on top. And even if they win this round, Team m1xwell, they've got economy for days. m1xwell himself, 7,800 to his name. Next closest is Korea at 59. Just what can you do at this point? ZeratoR opting in for the Sheriff, has the heavy armor. It is not looking good for Team ZeratoR, but we've seen them do more with less, and it's m1xwell finding the early frag, but Boaster will quickly trade it back. A crucial member down might open things up here for ZeratoR.
The wall comes out from David P, trying to watch the ropes to make sure that they don't decide to push their way back towards B. The spike was all the way on B. It has to run all the way back. So you can see that Sage shuffling on over to the A site. You've still got the Omen to deal with, who's inside the A site. So Boaster's going to fall to Korea. David P coming up the ropes now has to worry about potentially anyone that could be up in Heaven. But it's actually Rhyme who's coming through from the other side. So Rhyme inside the ropes, now joining his team as, again, they are trying to push onto this A site.
Orb. Here's a couple of those footsteps up in Heaven. They know that something's amuck. Orb going to try to get the rotate through, or sees one around the corner, and it's going to be the cross from Korea that takes him down with the spike up in the middle of no man's land. They've got to make sure that they execute this properly. Rhyme going to drop down. Fatinho already taking down Jibs. All up to Rhyme. Takes out Korea. Repositions with the use of his utility there. Now still looking for that last final member. The recon bolt denied early, but they know he's down below the rafters. All in his lonesome. 12 seconds left on the clock. Has to plant the spike now or never. Shock dart going to take him down to 20. No devour available around the corners. Orb up to the 1v1. Has to land the spike now or never. But it's Fatinho